told you that 4,000 years ago, while Egypt was building pyramids and Mesopotamia was writing its first laws, there was a civilization even more advanced than both of them combined? A civilization with indoor plumbing, with urban planning, with standardized weights and measurements. A civilization so sophisticated that its cities were designed with a level of precision that modern architects still find remarkable. And here's the part that should keep you up at night. We still cannot read their writing. After 100 years of trying, after some of the world's greatest minds attacking the problem, after supercomputers analyzing every symbol, silent, this is the story of the Indus Valley Civilization. The greatest ancient civilization you were never taught about, and the mystery at its heart that nobody has been able to solve. It's 2600 BC. Egypt is in its Old Kingdom period. The pyramids are being built. Mesopotamia is developing the world's first writing system. And in the fertile plains of what is today Pakistan and northwest India, something extraordinary is happening. A civilization is building cities, not villages, not settlements, actual planned cities. The two largest, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, are home to tens of thousands of people each, at a time when most of humanity lives in small agricultural communities. But what makes these cities truly remarkable isn't their size, it's their design. The streets are laid out in a perfect grid like a modern American city. Every major street runs north to south or east to west, block after block, perfectly aligned. Every house is built from standardized bricks the exact same size across hundreds of miles of territory, as if someone issued a building code and everyone followed it. And then there's the plumbing. Every house, not just the wealthy ones, every house has access to a sophisticated drainage system. Wastewater flows through covered drains running beneath the streets. Ancient Rome is famous for its plumbing, but Rome's plumbing came 2,000 years after the Indus Valley had already figured it out. Who were these people? How did they organize an entire civilization with this level of precision? We genuinely don't know, because we can't read what they left behind. The Indus Valley people left behind thousands of inscriptions, carved onto small stone seals about the size of a postage stamp, stamped into clay tablets, scratched onto pottery. Over 4,000 inscriptions have been discovered, featuring around 400 distinct symbols. And not a single person alive can tell you with certainty what any of them mean. This isn't for lack of trying. Since the ruins were first excavated in the 1920s, some of the greatest linguistic minds in the world have attempted to crack the Indus-Script. They've used pattern analysis, statistical modeling, artificial intelligence, supercomputers. Nothing. Part of the problem is that we have no Rosetta Stone for the Indus-Script, no bilingual inscription that connects it to a known language. Part of the problem is that the inscriptions are incredibly short. Most contain fewer than 5 symbols, not enough data to work with. And part of the problem is that we don't even know what language family the Indus people spoke. Were they the ancestors of modern South Asians? Did they speak an early form of Sanskrit? A Dravidian language? Something completely unknown. We don't know. 4,000 years of silence. And counting. Around 1900 BC, something begins to go wrong. The great cities of the Indus Valley start to decline. Population drops. Trade slows. The sophisticated drainage systems fall into disrepair. By 1700 BC, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa are essentially abandoned. One of the greatest civilizations in human history, gone. But here's what makes the Indus Valley collapse uniquely fascinating. There are no signs of conquest, no evidence of invasion, no burned buildings, no mass graves, no weapons caches suggesting a last desperate defense. The people just left. For decades, historians blamed the Aryan invasion, a theory that nomadic warriors swept in and destroyed the civilization. But modern archaeology has largely debunked this. The current leading theory? Climate change. The monsoon patterns that fed the Indus River system began to shift. Rivers dried up, agriculture failed. The carefully engineered cities that depended on reliable water sources became unsustainable. The people didn't die. They migrated slowly, over generations eastward toward the Ganges River basin. where their descendants may have eventually contributed to the cultures that became modern India and Pakistan. The Indus Valley didn't end. It transformed. We just can't read the story it left behind.
Here's what the Indus Valley civilization forces us to confront. We divide the ancient world into a handful of great civilizations: Egypt, Greece, Rome, Mesopotamia, China. These are the ones in the textbooks, the ones with museums dedicated to them, the ones whose languages we've decoded and whose leaders we've named. But the Indus Valley was larger than Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. At its peak, it covered over 1 million square kilometers and may have been home to 10% of the entire world's population. It was arguably the most successful urban experiment in human history, and we barely teach it. Why? Partly because its writing remains undeciphered. No decoded text means no dramatic stories, no named kings, no great battles. Partly because of something more uncomfortable. The civilizations we celebrate tend to be the ones that fed into Western history. Greece feeds into Rome, Rome feeds Europe, Europe feeds into the modern world as we know it. The Indus Valley fed into South Asia, and for a long time, South Asian history wasn't considered worth teaching in Western schools. That's changing, slowly. But the fact that you're watching this video, that you'd never heard of Mohenjo-daro or Harappa before today, tells you exactly how much work is still left to do. History isn't just what happened, it's what we choose to remember. And right now, we're choosing to remember more. Discover more sources in the description. Archaeologists are still excavating Indus Valley sites today. New discoveries are being made every year. And somewhere out there, in a museum basement, in an unexcavated field, buried under 4,000 years of soil, they're writing. The day that happens, we'll finally hear what's trying to tell us. Until then, we keep pulling threads. Drop a comment below if today was the first time you'd heard of it. I read every single one. A like takes 2 seconds and helps this channel reach more people. I'll see you in the next thread.